hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and I'm back with a dose of great affection here for this wee little number, the Jpanther. Before we go any further, this is a patron-sponsored post. I haven't done a very good job of explaining exactly what Patreon is. Apparently, a lot of you think that you've got to pay like massive amounts of money and all this. It's nothing like that. You can donate $5 a month via Patreon, and that's it, and you're done, and you're in Telegram, and you're away. I mean, you can do $1 a video for 4 videos, or you can do $1 a video for every video. It's very much pay what you feel you can afford. It's not something where I'm trying to fleece people out of their livelihood. So don't freak out about Patreon. If you are worried about it and you want to get involved with it, because we do have a lot of fun. We're doing a boot camp in about half an hour for the NA kiddies. We're doing lots of stuff. There's a really good chat vibe. It's very cool. Anyway, I won't bore you with that. This is the Jpanther. I've been so lucky the last wee while. I've done a couple of reviews that have really turned my head around on a few tanks. Namely, the Carnarvon was the most important one. They buffed that, and the changes to matchmaking made that incredibly efficient now. It's a great tank. In fact, it's a tank that I'd probably drive at tier 8 as a heavy if I had to, over just about any other tier 8 heavy. I really enjoy it. It suits my playstyle. I'd never driven this tank. I just hadn't. And I never rated it very highly because on the battlefield I'd always done pretty well against it. I love this tank. This is going to be a rosy review. It's got some faults, some fairly egregious faults actually. The armor profile is crap, but it's mobile, its gun sings, it is so typically German, it has an incredible aim time, and it's got a nice blend, a really lovely blend of both alpha and DPM and rate of fire. You've got enough rate of fire that at times you'll be able to permatrack tanks. Not all the time, certainly depending on how quickly they repair their tracks, but if you're going to blow an adrenaline boost or something, you can see how quickly I'm firing here on this Panther. He comes out and back, and he's got a very quick firing gun. And that's something else. There are multiple guns on this tank. All of them work. I prefer the final gun. I think it's definitely the way forward, the 105. But I wouldn't be against driving other guns on this tank. The reason you love the 105 is because of the pen and the alpha and the blend. And it's bloody brilliant. There are people that legitimately run the 88mm on this, and that's fine. It's got more DPM. In fact, it's got about 150 DPM per minute more. But I prefer this. It's got great stopping power. That's 220 alpha. This is 310. The pen numbers are similar. This has a better pen. We'll get through the gun first up. It's a 105mm gun. And watch it go to work here. This is what I'm talking about. A lovely blend. The alpha is fine. The DPM is brilliant. And the accuracy and the aim time are absolutely superb. Look how quickly we're switching up to targets here. And how easily the gun performs. The range of traverse on the gun is not the best, but it's not Nash Horn and Toaster level bad either. And you can see here how quickly it snaps to 1.7 seconds of aim time. It really makes the tank, and the reload is very quick. Bang on target all the time. The first game I drove in this, I'm going to show you 2 games. The first game I drove in it, it sold me on the tank. And then like the third game I drove in it, I got the mastery badge. I love it. I'm going to tell you something else. Tier 7 is chock full of really good tanks. Comets, T-43s, LTTBs, SP-1Cs, the Jpanther. They're all there. It's a super competitive tier, and that Borsig is having a good giggle with me because he kept going for the same targets I was going for, but my gun was just quicker than his gun, and it meant that he was firing and wasting shells. And you can see how quick this is. The thing it does lack is armor, but I'm getting sidetracked. Let's go through the gun. The gun is 0.34 dispersion, the 105. Excellent dispersion. 1.7 seconds of aim time, which is absolutely amazingly good. That's fantastic. 7.59 rounds a minute at 310 alpha gives you 2,350 damage per minute before you run a gun rammer, before you run vents, before you run rations. I run this tank with binoculars, rammer, and vents. So I'm maximizing my gun handling, maximizing my DPM, and giving myself the chance to basically have a little bit of depth between me and the enemy when I do set up to snipe, or when I'm on a flank, or when I've got to spot targets at the end of games. And that's all well and good, because I think the gun works so well that you probably... I would never run a gun lane drive or anything like that, and I think that's just a waste of time. You can see here, it spits out DPM fantastic. Now I'm going to get smashed here, I'm getting overwhelmed, but the gun is so quick, and the tank traverses really quickly as well, and it's got a very fast top speed. I can get back to the zone line there and still get shots in. I'm constantly just smacking shots out here on these boys. I mean, it's such a little Spitfire. You've got to love it. 55 kilometers an hour is your top speed. Now that's quick. When you look at it, my son actually saw me playing this one right at the start, and he said, "Dad, that looks like an Object 704," and he's dead on. It's like a cross between a 704 and an SU-122 54. The flat Panzer, there you can see the SU-122 44. I mean, it's got so much going for it in terms of agility. 32 degrees of traverse, 55 kilometers an hour. It has 8 degrees of gun depression, and that's where it's unlike its Russian cousins or Russian counterparts. The ability to snapshot is quite phenomenal in a Tier 7 TD. It's a very, very different tank to, say, an SU-152, which is all about this horrific gun handling. You're going to see there's going to be this T-43 is going to try and push to me on the side. I'm going to stop and get round and turn to him in time and just smash him, because it's a very, very agile tank destroyer. So we've got good DPM, we've got an excellent weapon. The pen numbers on the weapon: 200 millimeters flat of pen on your AP rounds, 244 on your APCR. That's really good pen at Tier 7. Very much gets the job done. I mean, it's not the best pen, but I mean, it's got a lot of things going for it. Seems to have very good camo. I don't have hard stats on the camo rating. This is the first game I ever played in it. You can tell it's the first game because if you look at my loadout on the right, it's the stock loadout that you get on the contributor account. I've got a med pack, a fire extinguisher, and one single sol repair kit. And I do make a bit of an error here, which the IS-6 in our team takes me to task for, but I think it was just unfortunate rather than a true error. Now you can see there, down the end, looking for other targets. I've got the binoculars engaged. I'm unspotted there, obviously, because that was spotted for me by someone else on the team. And the gun is just working exactly as it's built. Now, the reason I really enjoyed this game was I had no idea on the stats on the gun, on the stats on the tank. I just rolled it out with the default ammo and bought some equipment for it and some rations and to see basically what it could do. And I was absolutely astounded at how well this tank performed. Well in excess of my expectations. The armor, while we're sitting here sniping, I'll talk to you about the armor. The armor's pointless. It's terrible armor. You're basically looking at a tank that has very, very little armor up front, and that's where the similarity with the 704 is certainly ends, and the SU-122 54 comes in. It's a very armorless tank, and I've got to say too, I do like the continuity in this line between the Stug, the Jpanther, the Flat Panzer at Tier 6. There's a lot of continuity in the tanks, good gun handling, and this is where I make the error. I go to HE to make sure of this kill. He's on 29 hit points, and I roll 15. I trust the gun now enough that I would have just stuck with AP in that situation, and the IS-6 has a go at me, but I think it's a bit unwarranted. I mean, it still should have taken him out. Look at that shot. That's a crackerjack shot. And look how quickly this thing moves around. Beautiful tank. Yeah, there you go. The IS-6 is having a go at me for using HE. I don't know what he wants, mate. I did my best. I was pumping damage, and if you see the numbers at the end, you'll realise that having a go at me is probably the least of his concerns in this game. So it's now 5 on 2, and we take out that IS all the same, and we switch to APCR to do that. And you can see the pen numbers there. They're fine and dandy for getting through all those kind of tanks. And you see exactly how good. Now we're into the vinegar strokes here, so I want to make sure that all shots go in. I'm taking my time on that Tiger. I'm going to try and get around here and use the mobility of the tank. Get another shot in. Look at it perform. It's an absolutely fantastic gun. And we get a bounce. It's a very rare thing to get in this tank. Generally, the bounces are not your best friends. And I'm feeling it now. I'm thinking, this thing is the goods. And I probably go a little bit too aggressive here because I'm trying to run away from that IS-3, and he's just behind me. And this is what I'm talking about, the mobility. 55 kilometers an hour and 32 degrees of traverse. We're starting to get up there now in terms of flatline speed. It doesn't get there too quickly, but it gets there quick enough. And we're certainly getting up there. And I'm hoping to double back around here and get this Indian. If I can get the Indian, I'll be all right. But we have to settle for the 122, 50, 44, and we take him out and take a shot from the Indian, and both of them, unfortunately, which really sealed the deal here. We managed to get another one in on the IS-3. Happy days. Take one back. Look at it perform. I would have loved to have had adrenaline in this game, by the way. But be that as it may, next time maybe I should check my ammo loadouts and such. And I really want to kill this Indian, and I just realised it's all over. I'm screwed. But that's my first game in the Jpanther, and I thought, bloody hell, this thing has got some potential. I'm a big fan of this tank, and you're going to see here's a tier 7 tank in a tier 8 game, nearly 4k damage. Quite in excess of the rest of the team. And this is Rich and myself on Dead Rail. We performed a platoon after that game, and this is, I think, this could be the next game, in fact. It's very, very shortly afterwards. And you're going to see the tank's not foolproof at all, but it's got excellent gun handling, and that's what you want from a TD. And it can be that little assault cannon too. Because the DPM is right up there with the best DPM in its tier, it can push and really pump out damage. The armour, I mean, you've got 80 millimeters of plate on your front, and that's sloped, I think, to give you about 118, 120 millimeters of armor, and that's not much. I mean, there's every tank at your tier is going to pen you with that. That's just all there is to it. Even the lower pen numbers like 145s, 150s, they'll still get through it every time with AP. And some tanks, in fact, will do you from behind with HE and stuff. And look at that. That's another great shot. If you like gun handling, you're going to love this tank. Now, I know that I can be overly effusive about tanks at times because I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I look at things and I don't think, and I'm tired of people whinging saying, oh, you reckon it's a good tank and all this. If you've got to drive these tanks, you may as well learn how to drive them effectively. And there's nearly always a way of being good in a tank. It's got some positive redeeming feature that you can use to be successful. And just because it's not overpowered is no reason to say that a tank is bad. 9 times out of 10, the driver is bad, and we all know that. That's just how it is. 9 times out of 10, the driver is doing the wrong thing with the tank, and that's why it's not successful. And I'll point out tanks that are bad or underpowered, and I'll tell you why, but I'll also try and tell you how you can use them successfully. Now, that's a bit of a red herring here. I'm going off on a tangent, but that's why if I'm seeming positive about this to the excess, it's because I don't think it's got a lot of negatives to it. You can play this as a bit of an assault gun, and you're going to take damage doing it, but you can burn stuff down if you have to burn it down. You've got enough DPM for that. You run an adrenaline. You'll be able to do the business. But as a sniper, with this quick 1.7 second aim time that's improved by your vents and your double rations if you want to run it, the fast rate of fire, the nice blend of alpha and rate of fire, all those things, they make this an absolute ball terror. You have to have a crack at this tank. More and more, I'm finding some of the lines that I didn't go through, which are less lauded lines, like people don't carry on about the bloody German TD line like it's unbelievable, like the Jpanther's the be-all and end-all, but this is a fantastically good tank. It's not overpowered, but mate, it's not far off it. The amount of damage it can put out and the amount of shots it misses are so minimal. Your hit rating will go up, and those key shots that you need to hit, you'll just hit them more often. It gets there, gets the job done. And look at it motor here as we push forward really, really quickly. Like the ability to take this tank and turn it into a very, very aggressive, I mean, good golly. It just gets out there. 1 minute you're at the back of the line. The next minute you're up here using your hit points to bully tanks. And that's why we win this game. Rich did a really good job staying alive at the front. in the Type 62 when they tried to come and harvest him, and I got to just feed off that and feast with this gun and pound people. But at the same time, look at how quickly it moves and how devastatingly effective the fire is. And then here comes the tiger. We're on 5 kills. We're going to get 6 kills here because this thing can do the business. And I mean, that's what you really want to do. You want to hold it at the back, use the fantastic gun as often as you can, and then use the mobility to go up there and swap your hit points and do really well. So just over 3k on that one, less damage, but 6 kills in a winning side will always get you that kind of reaction. Yeah, I highly recommend this tank. If you're driving it, run it like a sniper. Run your vents, run your rammer, use binoculars on it, and always remember that you don't have huge traverse on your gun, so you're going to knock those binoculars off if you're not careful. If you really need them, make sure that you set it up the right way first before you let them set and don't have to keep readjusting. And then at the end of the game, if you've got a hit point advantage, just run in and burn them down. Drop your adrenaline, and it's fast enough. It's very hard to circle of death in a medium. If you get any kind of obstacle around them, you can quite often just keep pace with them. There's tanks that are quick enough to do it. You're not immune, but it's a lot easier to not be COD'd in this than it is, say, in an SU-152 or something like that. Anyway, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed making that one. It was a real eye-opener. I thought I'd give it a go and see what I thought, and then bang, suddenly I played 25 games in it. And the win rate was really good in it. The average damage is really good in it. The hit rate is really good in it. You've just got to be careful that you don't get too aggressive too early in it, because everyone will pen you, and you're not. I mean, your gun's brilliant, but your armor's so average. So be very careful of that. I'll get to the Ferdinand eventually. I started playing the Ferdinand before I played this, and it's funny how the line just differentiates. I think the Jpanther 2 might be more my taste than the Ferd will, but we'll wait and see. And I've obviously played all the 9s now and done reviews on all the 10s of the German TD line. So it's just the tier 8s and the tier 6 that I really want to get stuck into with the German TD. So I've got to run off now and do a boot camp with the NA patrons, the North American humans. We're going to be doing a podcast tomorrow I've organised with my good mate Dave, the sock robber, who is the head of Blitz Stars. He started that website, is running it, and I want to talk to him. And if you haven't looked at Blitz Stars, you should, because it's got some fantastically funny little things out there we're going to be talking about tomorrow, namely the avatars that everyone gets now, the Blitz Star Awards that run across the middle. And there's great little bits of artwork there. I'm a second-class SEAL clubber, by the way. And some of the artwork changes the higher you go in it. And if you get badges, everyone loves a badge. Can't get enough of it. So listen out to the podcast. Keep subbing and liking and all that kind of stuff. I'm coming to New York in mid-November to broadcast the finals. I want to get a couple of the guys on. I've got Scumbag Juju lined up. I want to talk to people about the tactics of Blitz and all that kind of thing. So it should be very, very exciting. Anyway, onwards and upward, boys and girls. Thanks very much for watching. Look after your family. Stay safe on the battlefield, and bye for now.